So here's the lineup. First, Shane O'Farrell, 23 years old, from Carrickmacross in County Monaghan, law graduate. He had literally just finished his master's thesis, like the guy was ready to go out there and actually fix the system. Smart, hopeful, living in a small Irish town, just doing normal things. The kind of guy you'd want on your side if life got messy. Now across the stage we have Zigimantas Gridziuska, a Lithuanian man, and let's just say the guards already knew his name. Why? Because this dude had a record longer than a Tesco receipt. More than 40 convictions. Not little speeding tickets either, we're talking drugs, theft, road traffic mess, heroin possession. If you could screw it up, he probably did it. And yet somehow he's still walking around free, which already tells you something in the system isn't clicking. Alright, picture this, it's August 2nd, 2011. Shane's just 23, he's on his bike near Carrickmacross in Monaghan. No big night out, no wild drama, just a normal cycle home. That's it. And then, in the middle of that ordinary ride, a car slams into him from behind. The driver doesn't stop, doesn't even bother to check, just keeps going. Shane is left on the road, alone. And here's the thing that will blow your mind, the guy behind the wheel. It's not some random stranger, it's someone the guards already knew very well. Alright, here's where things get nuts. On the exact day he ran into Shane, Zigimantas Gridziuska already had more than 40 convictions. Yeah, over 40. Imagine needing a separate notebook just to keep track of your crimes. And this wasn't oops, forgot my parking ticket stuff. We're talking drug offenses, theft, road traffic chaos, even heroin possession. The works. Oh, and let's sprinkle in one more detail. Some of those convictions weren't just in Ireland. He had convictions in Northern Ireland too, which means multiple countries already had his name flagged. So if you're thinking, wait, how does a guy like that still get to drive around free? Yeah, you're not the only one. Now here's the part that'll make you want to scream into a pillow. Zigimantas wasn't just some random guy with a bad record. He was actually out on bail, multiple times, for different offenses. He had convictions, he had appeals, he had conditions stuck to him like sticky notes. And guess what? He broke some of those conditions. Shocking, right? Except apparently not shocking enough for the system to do anything about it. Here's the kicker. Back in January 2011, a judge straight up told him, if you get in trouble again, you're coming back here. End of story. Pretty clear, right? Well, between that ruling and Shane's death, Zigimantas committed 11 more offenses. 11 more offenses? And none of them triggered that promised response. Not one. The warning from the judge? Totally ignored. The system? Completely asleep at the wheel. So after Shane's death, you'd expect the system to finally, do its job. And at first it looked like that might actually happen. In February 2013, Zigimantas Gridziuska was hauled into court for dangerous driving causing Shane's death. That charge was the big one, the kind of thing that should have carried serious weight. But then the case takes a turn that feels like it came straight out of a bad legal drama. The judge directed the jury that they couldn't even consider the dangerous driving charge, gone off the table, just like that. And here's the kicker, the option to convict him on a lesser charge like careless driving. Not available either, so what started as a case that could have held him accountable turned into a courtroom where the main question was this dangerous driving that killed Shane. Never even got put to the jury. Which left the O'Farrell family standing there thinking, wait, so a man with over 40 convictions who hit our son and drove off isn't convicted for the thing we came here for? Yeah, try making sense of that. So now you'd think, alright, the case is over, the court's messed up, but surely someone in power is going to step in and sort this out, right? Well, not exactly. Shane's family, his mother Lucia, his father Jim, and his sisters Hannah, Pia, Gemma, and Amy, they didn't just sit quietly. They spent years banging on doors, writing letters, standing outside the Dale, asking one simple question: how was this even allowed to happen? And here's what they eventually got. In 2025, the Irish state finally stood up and gave them an apology. The government admitted on record that the justice system failed Shane. It's like, sorry about that, our bad. But here's the catch: an apology isn't the same as justice. The family is still demanding a full public inquiry. Why? Because even with all the reports, all the reviews, all the headlines, nobody has actually answered the real question. Why was Shane exposed to this in the first place? Why was a man with that record still free to drive on Irish roads? So yeah, an apology sounds nice, but for the O'Farrells it's just words. And here's where the whole thing stops being just tragic and starts being downright absurd. The system had every chance to stop this. Zigimantas had broken bail conditions before. He had more convictions than some people have Facebook friends, and judges had literally said, if this guy screws up again, bring him back. But when he did screw up again and again and again, nothing happened. 11 separate offenses slipped right through the cracks. It's like the rules applied to everyone else except him. And it doesn't stop there. Paperwork got bungled. Appeals weren't filed right. Warrants weren't acted on. Basically, the entire system that was supposed to track and control offenders was running like a half-broken printer. So instead of sitting in a cell, Zigimantas was free to get behind the wheel that night. The irony: Shane O'Farrell believed in law, he studied law, but in the end it wasn't crime that failed him, it was the law itself. So here's the €1,000,000 question. Why was Zigimantas Gridziuska even on the road that night? Like, how does a guy with more than 40 convictions, bail conditions stacked against him, multiple breaches, and judges literally saying, any more trouble and you're back in court, how does that guy still get to drive around Ireland? The answer: because the system cracked wide open. Every layer that was supposed to stop him, courts, bail laws, warrants, paperwork, guards following up, all of them had a chance to pull him off the road, and every single one of them missed. So instead of sitting in a cell where he belonged, Zigimantas was behind the wheel, and Shane O'Farrell paid the price for a justice system that looked the other way. Shane O'Farrell wasn't looking for trouble. He wasn't living reckless. He wasn't breaking laws. He was the guy who believed in the law, studied it, wrote a thesis on it, trusted it, and in the end it was the law that betrayed him. The Irish state eventually stood up in 2025 and said, yeah, we failed him. Nice words, but words don't bring Shane back. And words don't erase the fact that the same cracks that swallowed him are still there today. And here's the kicker: this isn't just Shane's story. It's every cyclist riding home in the dark, every student walking back from the library, every family trusting that the rules we live under actually mean something. So after all the apologies, the hearings, the speeches, the real question is this: when the system promises to protect you, but doesn't, who's going to pay the price next time? Rest easy, Shane. The story isn't forgotten. The question is, will Ireland fix it or let history repeat itself?